Money Talk with Melanie features lively discussions of a wide range of global, domestic, and kitchen table financial topics. Guest interviews include entrepreneurs, CEOs, and politicos who are experts in their fields. Be sure to listen up. This is important because it's your money. Your money. Be sure to listen to Money Talk with Melanie. Money Talk with Melanie. Thursdays, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time on 98.7 The Coast.
And welcome this evening to another edition of Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your host, Melanie Collette, broadcasting live from beautiful Wildwood, New Jersey. And it was indeed a beautiful day today. 62 degrees and super duper sunny, nice and warm. And if you live near the islands like I do, we're surrounded here in the real South Jersey in the peninsula. We are surrounded by all these tiny little islands that are just nice and breezy and comfortable, and it is just beautiful here in the real South Jersey. This evening's guest will be Oliver E. He is the founder of Learning Crypto Solutions. He's going to talk to us today about making money in the Metaverse. Very excited about that, about the Metaverse. Metaverse kind of came to attention when Mark Zuckerberg famously changed Facebook's name to Meta, but I think we're all still calling it Facebook. But whatever, Mark. We're going to learn about the Metaverse, what exactly the Metaverse is, because it's broader than just what Facebook is doing, and how you can make money in the Metaverse. So I'm excited about that. Our second hour guest is Nobel Peace Prize nominee and author Robert Reuschlein. He also refers to himself as Dr. Peace. He's going to talk to us about weather, wealth, and wars. We're going to be specifically talking about how the economy is affected by wars, not only in here in the United States, but globally. He has quite a bit to say about it. Weather, Wealth, and Wars is actually the name of a very interesting book. I don't think there's anything this dude does not know about the economy and finances and any of that stuff. He's simply brilliant, so I'm looking forward to speaking to him as well. In the Melanie Media Recap, I did do Newsmax earlier this week, and one of the things I was asked about, pretty easy peasy. There's some green activist group that tweeted that they were going to that they should let the air out of SUVs to fight climate change. But in their request to do this, they said that you should only do it in wealthy neighborhoods because they don't want to affect working people, which I thought was a very interesting strategy because it assumes that wealthy people don't work, and that they and they do. So I thought that was just a very odd position to take. So they asked me about that, and I thought, what about first of all, and they said they also claimed that it was a non-violent strategy, which I don't know how taking the air out of someone's tires when they could possibly get in an accident or hurt someone else is non-violent. I also wanted to know where their Twitter ban was, because you get banned from Twitter for saying a heck of a lot less than hey everybody, let's let the air out of people's tires, but only in wealthy neighborhoods, because that's a nonviolent protest. It's not a nonviolent protest. It's a whole entire problem. And then the other thing I was asked about was about Elon Musk turning down the seat on the Twitter board, because at the time, this was on Monday, when I was asked about this, he bought 9% of Twitter, which of course I was thrilled about, because I think it's going to be the return of free speech, hopefully. But speaking of Elon Musk and speaking of Twitter, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but the liberals are kind of losing their mind, because Elon Musk put an offer in today to buy Twitter for $43 billion. Hilarious, right? Now, what was funny about this is on Monday when I was asked about this, I was asked specifically by one of the hosts on Newsmax's American Agenda why I thought Elon Musk turned down the board seat. And here's what I said. So, because apparently if he joins the board, he will only be able to buy like 14% of the company. Yeah. And I think he wants to buy more. So that will limit him by joining the board. So I'm looking at this as a good sign that he's not joining the board. I'm like, buy 25%, dude. Like, go in. Twitter's only worth, I think, $16 billion. And I mean, he's got that in his, in a pocket chain for Elon Musk. Just buy the whole thing, man. Just do it. So that was my response when the host asked me what I thought was going on. And I said, I think he should buy the whole thing. And lo and behold, today. Now, I'm not suggesting that Elon Musk consulted Money Talk with Melanie about whether or not he should buy Twitter. All I'm saying is it was a pretty darn good prediction on my part. That's all I'm saying. And I am pretty excited about the fact that Elon Musk has put this offer in. Now, the word on the street is that the Twitter people are freaking out because they won't be able to ban speech anymore. And they're trying to do what's called a poison pill, which is an arrangement to kind of prevent a hostile takeover, this is really like kind of like a benevolent hostile takeover that Elon Musk is performing here, because what he said in his letter when he made the offer is that, if you don't take my offer, then I'm probably going to have to rethink my investment in Twitter, which is a brilliant strategy, because what are they really going to do? If he backs off, Twitter has gone up significantly since Elon Musk has hit the 9% that he invested so far, and since he's made that offer. So if they don't take that offer, it's going to be an entire financial problem for them, because, of course, the stock is probably going to tank if they don't take his offer. And, Elon Musk has said publicly that, listen, I want to bring free speech back. I think that Twitter is a good business model, but they could do more and be better as a privately owned company. So Elon Musk has reached out to buy the whole shebang, and that is just very exciting. And as I said in the rest of that clip, I didn't play the entire segment, but as I said in the rest of that clip, the fact that the liberals that like to block conservative speech are freaking out is just icing on the cake. Like that just makes me kind of happy. I'm just saying, like, because why would you want to do that? First Amendment and all. I still don't. And if somebody could let me know, you could tweet me at Money Talk Mel or jump on my Facebook page at Money Talk with Melanie. If you are someone who thinks that free speech should be banned, that you're not allowed to express opinions that are different than other people's, that should be banned. We don't ban speech. You know who does that? Like China does that. North Korea does that. Communist entities. We don't live in an authoritarian state. At least we're not supposed to. This is the United States, where we're supposed to have free speech. Not free speech without consequence, but what Twitter is doing is going a bit too far. And Elon Musk, they're calling him an absolutist. I don't think that he's an absolutist. I just think that he believes in the Constitution and that we should have free speech if we're going to be a democracy and not a communist nation. Like I said, that's what they do in places like China and North Korea, where they ban people's speech. Some places are not allowed to have Twitter. Heck, in China, you're not even allowed to have a Bible app. Did you know that? The iPhones in China are not allowed to have the Bible app. You want to talk about some creepy stuff? That's just crazy. But that's the kind of stuff that happens. So, what's going on here in the United States with Twitter? And I don't want to leave the rest of big tech out. YouTube, Facebook, all the things that they have banned, which, by the way, has turned out to be true. They banned a lot of COVID information that turned out to be true. They've banned quite a bit that they deemed to not be facts, that they deemed to be not good information by their quote unquote fact checkers, and they really have a certain ideology, and they call those facts to be not true, and so they take them off the internet because they consider themselves to be arbiters of what is true and what isn't, which is crazy. So Elon Musk making that offer is fantastic. The Twitter board's trying to figure out what they're going to do, and liberals across the virtual landscape are freaking out. So it's been a pretty good day, and if you ask me, it's a pretty good day. And thank you, Elon Musk, for taking my suggestion and just buying the whole company. I knew you had the money, so it was a good thing. So you're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. Our first guest for the first hour is going to be Oliver E. He is a crypto expert, the founder of Learning Crypto Solutions. He's going to talk to us about making money in the metaverse when we return on the other side of the break.
Money Talk with Melanie on 98.7 The Coast.
Welcome back to Money Talk with Melanie, and I'm looking forward to introducing my first guest. He is a YouTube influencer. His name is Oliver E. He has invested in digital assets since 2017. He's an analytical spot trader, entrepreneur, and financial consultant at Learning Crypto Solutions, LLC. His primary mission with his business and goals is to create solutions understanding cryptography and blockchain technology for the public sector. Learning Crypto Solutions educates individuals on cryptography, blockchain, and cryptocurrency, focusing on innovations in blockchain technology, aiming for an engaging learning experience for clients and subscribers. So I'm very excited to talk to him today about how to make money in the metaverse. And without further ado, Oliver E. Good evening.
Hello, Melanie. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing good.
Good. Was there anything that I left out of your bio that you'd like to share with the audience?
No, I think that was pretty much it. Just trying to push the adoption of cryptography.
Really? Now, when usually people say cryptocurrency, I don't see the word cryptography used very often. Why do you use that as opposed to kind of the crypto buzzwords?
So cryptography is actually the technology of crypto. Crypto is like the short-term pronunciation of cryptography. So cryptography allows you to have custody over your wealth and assets, digital assets. So I think the public are not getting to the point where the tech. I think we should focus on the technology, why it matters, and that's why cryptography just fixes custody, where people can actually own their wealth and not depend on third-party intermediaries.
Oh, okay. So third-party intermediaries like the bank and like our what is becoming more and more invasive government, in my opinion. So I think it was last year or maybe 2 years ago, Mark Zuckerberg announced that he was going to change Facebook to Meta. And he kind of did an introduction to the Metaverse. And I'm not sure that everybody completely understood it. I was kind of like, wow, this is interesting, but wasn't really crystal clear on what the Metaverse was. And I thought you'd be the perfect person to talk to about the Metaverse and what it is. And then, of course, pivot into talking about how you can actually make money in the Metaverse. So explain first what the Metaverse is. What is it exactly?
So the Metaverse is more of a interactive, it's like a virtual interactive format, I would say, if I have to break it down. So the Metaverse is the term of Web3 combining cryptography, which is the technology where you can have custody over your digital assets, all of that nature. So the Metaverse, all you're really doing is just stamping everything with cryptography. So if I own, let's say I created my own avatar clothing and I want to sell it in the virtual reality, by doing that with smart contracts, which is a cryptography type of technology, I can set that smart contract to give me a royalty percentage back off of each sale. So anytime somebody purchases my digital asset within the metaverse, the smart contract is going to respond to be like, okay, he gets I get a piece of this royalty that I set the smart contract to. So it's more like it's kind of like a digital format where you can tokenize all of your assets that you want in that world to make streams of income.
That sounds crazy to me. Now, I read a lot about it before this interview, and I was like, huh? I was like, wait, because I'm a money girl and I'm a technology girl. Like, I teach economics, financial lit, and I teach computer applications as well. I'm very techie. So I was like, I'm not sure that I'm clear on how exactly that works. Now, some people have described it as kind of a merge between the physical and digital worlds, and that is what the metaverse is. And you need to do you need to any special equipment to go into the metaverse? Like, where is the metaverse physically? Is it all online? It's all digital?
Yes. So there's two different versions of the metaverse. You have the virtual reality, which requires Oculus Rift. If you heard of that device, where it's kind of like the goggle. I think it's part of Facebook with the Meta brand. So Oculus. So if you wear the Oculus Rift goggles, you get that immersive experience, not being like in the reality, but in your own world. So that's one way with VR, that how you can actually have that enhanced experience with the metaverse. Then you have the AR, which is augmented reality, which is just framing. All it's doing is just connecting the digital components with reality. So if I have my iPhone, for example, and I open an app and it requires camera access to access this kind of like metaverse, but it's applying everything that I see through the lens, but in a digital format where I can see within the real world. So those are the two differences, AR and VR and AR. Those are the two differences.
That sounds very Minority Report. What was the movie? That was the movie that Tom Cruise was in, where technology was. You probably aged out of that because you're super young. But there was a movie. There was a movie called Minority Report years ago, where they used AI to predict when somebody would commit a crime, and they would go pick them up before they committed the crime. It was very creepy. And then there was the producers looking at me like, what? Yeah, I'm sure it's probably streaming somewhere. Minority Report is a very good movie. And then there's another, which probably, like, back then it seemed really like out of this world and not possible to happen. But now, like, to me, now with the technology that we're living in, it seems like that's completely plausible now. Something like the Minority Report. And then there was another movie, I think it was called iRobot, with Will Smith. Same thing, AI, but the robots started thinking for themselves, and that's the whole problem. It was a problem. If you just have one, but that's what this reminds me of. So, besides, I guess, like a gaming perspective or like some kind of escapism, which is what it sounds like. What other uses are there for the metaverse?
Yes, I think the metaverse is a great concept. I call it a concept because right now this is the narrative for the industry for this kind of like digital world. So the metaverse was really good because Meta, the term Meta, I think it's coming from metadata. So each component that you interact is metadata. So whatever asset that you interact in, whether that's like a digital asset with closing or tokenization of real estate on the metaverse, it's metadata that's registered to somebody who created it. So it kind of just has I'm trying to explain it, but if you create the asset,
right,
it's yours. It's yours forever. Anybody who interact with that, and if you set it up where you can receive a royalty off of it, that royalty is going to come to you. So it opens up a new idea of possibilities, not only for gamers. I would say retail investors as well. If you think about concerts and festivals, this could be a really good solution to have virtual concerts. You have parents out there who are, concerned about their kids going to these festivals and concerts. Now you have everything on an Oculus Rift or through your phone if you want to kind of interact with the kind of like the virtual mixed with reality, so you can kind of get that same immersiveness. But it just it's a lot goes into the metaverse. I think it just gives the developer more creativity and also creating a lines of a stream of income. I would say a lot of streams of income coming into your business, I would say.
Okay. So I'm remembering when Mark Zuckerberg introduced this, and he was participating in a metaverse, I guess Facebook's metaverse, as he was attempting to explain what it is. And, he's not, I don't know, in my opinion, not the most engaging speaker to begin with. But but he was like changing clothes and changing environments and things like that. So what you're saying is you can be a part of this and other kind of universe called the metaverse using metadata, and you can actually purchase things in that universe, in that world.
Yes. In this way, I think the metaverse is going to create a lot of streams of income, in my opinion, because if you think about it, you look at regular real estate, you can only reach the people that's around your proximity. But the metaverse, you can open up a casino in the metaverse, and guess what? It's across the web. Anybody can visit. You can create a casino, and the ticket could cost $100 just to get in, right? So if people saying, "Oh man, this casino is awesome" within the metaverse, now they they telling their friends, families, "Hey, you got to check this out." They have the access on the internet, so it can reach so many people just from the internet, and that's why I think the internet was so underestimated. Just despite look how much traffic you can get by using the metaverse as a marketing tool. I think people are not looking at that, saying like, "Hey, you can have like music venues. If I buy like property within the music venue areas, and if people are going to advertise, or different music events companies are going to advertise in that area, they can have like floating posters through augmented reality within the metaverse for people to check it out. And then, heading forward, we'll be wearing augmented reality glasses where we'll be able to see all of this stuff, combining the physical and the digital world together. So I think it just creates a whole new streaming opportunity of revenue.
Oh, wow. I can completely see that. I can see how that can create revenue streams. I am a little freaked out about immersing yourself in technology that way. And particularly for kids, like, is there an age group or a recommendation for an age group that should participate or not participate in the metaverse?
It's kind of hard to say because the metaverse is still like a new development. But I'm pretty sure, looking at Facebook, I think Meta would do something where it can kind of restrict users by, age groups, which area or which universe they should be in. I think it's going to be more kind of like guidance.
Kind of like video games where you have ratings, like you're, maybe you have a red light district in the metaverse that kids are not allowed to go into. But from a macro perspective, I'm just thinking, so you're probably aware of this, that most of your big tech people that are involved in big tech at high levels, like Mark Zuckerberg, don't allow their children to have the products that they sell. And the reason why they don't allow their children to have the products that they sell, like being a member of Facebook, is because it's highly addictive for children and teenagers. So I'm just thinking that this is, like, you can barely keep kids off of the games as it is. You can't keep them off their phones. You can't keep them off the computer. And I'm just thinking that the metaverse might make it so much worse. Just from an educator's perspective, I'm just like, oh, this is not what we need at all.
Yes, I agree. I think 70% of the idea of the metaverse is really good, but there's a 30% con that I think it's not going to be. I think, to me, it's not going to be healthy. Just trapping yourself in your apartment or home, just experiencing like this digital world. We have freedom for a reason. It's just like, I feel like, the metaverse would benefit the people who are incarcerated, in my opinion, to give them a chance to kind of like have this experience, if they lock up or somewhere. But people, us people with freedom, I think, this is going to be one of those type of technology that's going to keep us addicted and trapped. And I think, it's not going to be good on our health.
Right, that's what I'm thinking. And for people, we have 1 minute left before we go to break, but I'm just thinking for people who already have some mental health challenges and go into the metaverse, it may not be healthy for them. I'm not a psychiatrist, I don't know. But it just sounds like it might not be healthy for someone who is not well.
Yes, and I agree.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But there is an angle about people who are incarcerated and otherwise a danger to society, maybe to have a getaway. I don't know. We got to talk about that. But I'm talking to YouTube influencer Oliver E. And we're talking to him about the metaverse and making money with the metaverse. We just covered what the metaverse is, and when we get back, we're going to talk a little more about the financial aspects of the metaverse. That's Oliver E. from Learning Crypto Solutions. We'll be back in a few moments.
Money Talk with Melanie features lively discussions of a wide range of global, domestic, and kitchen table financial topics. Money Talk with Melanie on 98.7 The Coast.
Well, welcome back to Money Talk with Melanie. Our guest this hour is Oliver E. He's talking to us about the metaverse. He is the founder and financial consultant at Learning Crypto Solutions. And the metaverse is an emerging technology, and that's why I wanted to talk to Oliver E. about this. It was introduced to us. I really think that Mark Zuckerberg was probably the first person to kind of bring it to the mainstream. And I'm probably one of my only friends who hasn't been put in Facebook jail, because all my friends have been there, but I've never been because I'm an angel on social media. No, actually, I really don't know why I've never been locked up. I guess I don't have any snitches on my page, but I think that it's just a very interesting concept, and it seems exactly as he described, but I didn't quite get the why. I was like, why would you want to do this? Mm-hmm. Why would you want to do that, Mark? I don't quite understand why. But I guess if you're unhappy with real life, I guess you'll want to go into the metaverse and hang out there for a minute. Mm-hmm. I don't know. So, are there metaverse companies right now, like that specifically build things in a metaverse to make money? Like, how does that work?
Yes. They're, well, not really companies. I would say projects, really. In crypto, the metaverse is really more of a Web3 type of concept because you're taking the cryptography aspect and putting it together with virtual reality and augmented reality. But there are metaverse projects. So one of them, which is the big one, I think is going to be big, is over the reality, which is the ticker symbol is OVR. It's a cryptocurrency project. What they're trying to do is bridge. They're trying to bridge the digital over to the physical world. So, meaning that you can buy actual proximities of your area, and then you can develop whatever you want on top of it through augmented reality. So, if you wanted to buy the area in Times Square, you can do it on OVR. You can actually own that land through cryptography as an NFT. And once you own it, you can develop whatever you want on top of it. So anybody passing through that area, they can see whatever you put there.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is it's a virtual version of the real world. You almost get a do-over. You didn't have the opportunity to buy the land where Times Square is in real life, but now there's a digital version, and you can buy that and put whatever you want there.
Yes, it's like a layer. So it's a layer over the physical world, and each hexagon, which is the hexagon within the app, you can purchase those properties, and it's an NFT, so it's going to be stored on your crypto wallet. And
right.
You can do whatever you want. You can sell it. You can flip it. If somebody want to buy it, you can buy, what was it, the Dallas Mavericks stadium proximity. They can make you an offer to get out the way, and you can flip it. So I think it's another opportunity where people can actually buy these areas, which they didn't get a chance to. Now they can in the metaverse.
I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight because I'm getting more and more creeped out. Like, the more you describe this, the more creeped out I am. And as my producer inartfully pointed out, I'll probably be dead before all this happens anyway because I'm old. No. But no, he didn't say that. I'm joking. we were talking about it during the commercial break. We were talking about this. And he was like, "It's far, far away." He's like, "I'll probably be in my 40s." I'm like, "Oh, so in other words, I'll be dead." Great. So, no, but I'm creeped out by this because it just seems like there's a lot of ways this could go badly. This could go wrong.
Yes, you are. And that's the I would say that's the interesting part. Is there going to be regulations within the metaverse? What you can and what you cannot own.
Have you seen our Congress? They don't even know how social media works. Have you ever watched Congress bring the CEOs of big tech before them for a hearing and the kinds of questions that they ask? Many of our legislators don't understand the technology. So how can they regulate a technology that they don't understand?
Yeah, and that's true. We have a lot of elite people, people in higher rank that don't understand blockchain. Like crypto, they still don't understand it. I think it's a lot of lack of education, and that's one of the missions that I'm trying to push, to just trying to break everything down so we can kind of get back to the floor, the ground, and then we can start stacking everything on top where they can kind of understand and elaborate on the technology, and that way it can benefit all of us. But yeah, I totally agree.
I hope that they are teaching about this in college level economics, because I can assure you that the textbook that I use talks nothing about this aspect of the economy, which it sounds like it's going to be, it's already an area of the economy. I mean, if big tech is already investing in something like this, and the sense that I get is it's probably much further along than I could imagine, and that anybody could imagine, and a whole lot of people don't even know the metaverse exists, that it's a thing. So it's just kind of creepy. So at least I'm creeped out. So if you were to try to identify components of the metaverse environment, if you were to tell a layman about this is how you identify something that's part of a metaverse, like what would you recommend to somebody who was like, I want to see some of this, I want to see what it's like? How would you be able to do that?
Yes. So what you need first is you need an Ethereum wallet. So Ethereum is a cryptocurrency. It's a smart contract network. So where companies can build, or projects can build on top of the smart contract layer, anything, dApps. We call them dApps, which stands for decentralized applications.
Yes.
So there are two platforms that are really popular right now. One is Decentraland, and the next one is Sandbox. Sandbox, you probably heard of it. Snoop Dogg, one of the biggest influencers, he's doing a lot with Sandbox, which is a metaverse.
Oh, that's so funny. He calls Snoop Dogg an influencer. Back in my day, he was a rapper. I'm sorry. I just thought that was hilarious, because when I was growing up, he was a musician and a rapper. Now Snoop's he's an influencer. Oh my gosh, I'm so old right now. I feel so
I mean, the moves Snoop Dogg is making. I mean, he's getting into the metaverse. He's coding. I mean,
I saw that.
Not too many rappers code, and and he's actually helping. He's helping artists to move over to crypto. NFTs, owning your masters, and having custody over your streams of music and stuff like that.
Right, which is a big problem in the music industry. So I could completely see why he would be interested in that. That's crazy. But I did see that when I was doing research for the show today. I saw that, and I was like, "Oh, that's really interesting." But I'm sorry. I just found it funny that you said Snoop Dogg, who's an influencer. I'm like, yeah. Before he was a rapper. Yeah, the Super Bowl reminded everybody that Snoop actually was a rapper before he was an influencer. It was, the halftime show was for us old heads. We were all good with that. But okay, so I think I got down pat what a metaverse is, and hopefully everybody who's listening has that down pat and completely understands that. Is it mainstream enough for like kids to play in it now? Because I feel like a lot of the most popular just video games are very, very, very realistic, like Metaverse like. You know what I mean? Without the goggles and the glasses.
Yes. You talking about augmented reality in a way?
So that's augmented reality? Like video games would be like augmented reality, as opposed to completely virtual reality.
Yes, so virtual reality is VR. Yeah,
Right.
VR, and then augmented reality is pretty much bringing the digital component with reality through like a camera lens or some glasses where you'll be able to see stuff digitally in the physical world at the same time.
Oh, the producer just mentioned to me that Pokemon Go is an example of augmented reality.
Yes,
I got it.
Yes, that's a good one.
I completely got it. Now, I didn't know what it was. I was just annoyed by it. But because I was like, what are you people doing? Like, I don't understand what you people are doing. Why are you chasing these little animals? I've seen the cartoon, but I didn't get. But now I got it. I got it now, and I think I mentioned this before, but sufficiently creeped out. Seriously creeped out by the whole thing. Okay, so you can make. So you mentioned before that it was that they tried this virtual reality thing before, and it didn't really take off. Is there a difference with the climate now? Is you think maybe because of the pandemic and people were locked down, it's an easier sell and sell to people to get involved in the metaverse than maybe it was before? I don't know.
Yes, I think the pandemic influenced the push for the virtual reality. I think, the pandemic really made a big effect on it. And I would say maybe there's a shifting. I think there's something shifting within our, I don't know what it is, but I think it's shifting within the era. I think we're heading into a new era now. So I think Web 2.0 is coming to an end, and, Web 3 is going to be the new concept moving forward, because we're going to be able to interact with a lot of stuff, interact with assets and stuff in the digital world or the digital format. So that's one of the biggest reasons why you want to pay attention to moves like that. How Facebook changed the name to Meta. That's history in the making. Facebook, a big name. Changing their name to Meta, and embracing the metaverse. That's how you follow the money in a way, to be like, hey, it's bigger. It's bigger than what it, could seem, So that's why I pay close attention to the metaverse and different projects. Look at Activision. Microsoft purchased Activision to get involved with the metaverse. Looking to develop a metaverse like with Activision, which is known for Call of Duty. So it's just a lot of money is behind the metaverse. So I'm just urging people to kind of pay attention to it, even though it has the positive and the negative effects. But you can embrace it just by investing into a technology or a project, and you can see a huge return on investment with that project.
I could definitely see how it could be huge. Now, I was looking at ways that you could make money, right? And I have a list in front of me. You could play to earn games. Does that sound... How does that work? Play to earn games?
Yes. So meaning, for example, before I'm a big Call of Duty head. So before, when I play Call of Duty games, you only earn XP, which is not real money. So you just play and buy skins and buy all this stuff,
right?
Spending your money, right? So with play to earn, pretty much is just bringing the component where you earning money. They're giving you money just by playing the game. So for the gamers out there who are really good at competitive gaming, they can make a stream of income just by playing their game and playing a certain game and earning whether it's like a cryptocurrency or something in value that they'll receive back, where they can exchange it for dollars or fiat, and and they can live off that. So that's what a play to earn is, just giving the royalty, I would say like a royalty right back to the gamer in a way.
I had an esports expert on a couple weeks ago that talked about that because I was totally like, what do you mean you can make money with esports? Apparently, there's a lot of money there. Now, online shopping and virtual clothing, I get. Now, I'm thinking, okay, I'm looking at, I don't know, the Oscars, and J-Lo has on this really awesome dress, right? Her designer has that same dress in the metaverse. I could put it. I could buy it for like my avatar, right, and be wearing J-Lo's dress.
And then once you buy it,
it's mine.
The royalty goes back. Yeah, the royalty goes back to the creator or the developer who developed that asset or that clothing apparel for your avatar. So once you buy it, they get a kickback off of the purchase because they developed it and they own that asset. So that's the power of it, because you can develop if you hire gaming developers to create different types of assets that the community thinks is valuable. You can create streams of income by implementing a kickback, like a royalty kickback, within the smart contract of that asset, and you can make streams of revenue. Even if they want to resell it to somebody else, you still get a kickback. So
sure.
if somebody bids higher than the original, retail value, and everything is resale, you still get that kickback percentage off of that. So that's the power of this whole metaverse thing, and that's why I think it's going to be a really good opportunity to create streams of income.
That is wild. Okay, we're up against the end of the hour. Please tell people where they can follow your company, Learning Crypto Solutions, which is a great YouTube channel, and where they can follow you elsewhere.
Yes. So my username across Facebook, Instagram, it's Learning Crypto Solutions. That's the username, and also, they can go to my official website at lcsxos.com, which you would find all my services, my online course. I have online mentoring for people who want to get involved with the metaverse or DeFi or NFTs, and they need help guide them through the experience. We operate all of our services through our private Slack group with other like-minded individuals, so you can join the community around different people who are interested, different investors, different traders, and y'all can communicate, and we can all be up to date what's going on in cryptography and blockchain.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Oliver E., for being on Money Talk with Melanie. We appreciate it so very much, and this show will be posted as a podcast in the next day or two. So look out for the tag so you can share it.
Thank you, Melanie.
Yep.
Thank you for the opportunity for having me on.
Thank you. Have a great night. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Money Talk with Melanie features entrepreneurs, CEOs, and politicos who are experts in their fields. Money Talk with Melanie. Money Talk with Melanie on 98.7 The Coast.
Welcome back to Money Talk with Melanie. We are entering the second hour of Money Talk with Melanie. If you missed the first hour, then you missed Oliver E., who is the founder of Learning Crypto Solutions, LLC. And we were talking to him about the metaverse. It's going to take me a couple days to recover from that interview. I got to be honest, because I am seriously creeped out. And I'm a girl who loves her technology. Like, I love my technology. But I am very, very creeped out by the metaverse, which, I should have known that it was something that was going to creep me out when I saw my good friend Mark Zuckerberg from Facey, now Meta, introduce it. Like, I should have known when he had something to do with it that I was going to be creeped out when I got to the nuts and bolts of what the metaverse is and how you can make money in the metaverse. And as a capitalist, from the money-making perspective, I can see how a lot of money could be made. Many, many, many streams of income. it's basically just creating an entire new world. But if you missed that first hour, you can catch up with what was said and all the information there on the podcast, which will be posted in the next day or two on 98.7 The Coast website and on all of my social media. Mainly, you can pick it up on Twitter at Money Talk Mel or on my Facebook page at Money Talk with Melanie. But that was a very interesting interview about the metaverse and what it is and how you can make money in it. I am so creeped out right now. I know I keep saying it, but I'm just like, wow, just wow. People are doing strange things in the world. Our second hour guest is Nobel Peace Prize nominee and author, Dr. Robert Reuschlein, a.k.a. Dr. Peace. He's going to talk to us about weather, wealth, and wars. He's a really interesting guy, and I can't wait to have a chat with him about the economic sanctions on Russia. We're going to get real serious for a few minutes about how the wars affect economies in general. He has a very interesting perspective on that. Actually, very different from what I thought about wars and the economy. And he's got the research to back it up, which is why he's been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize a couple of times. But he has kind of a solution to world peace that I think is interesting as well. So I'm looking forward to speaking to him. But before that, I wanted to talk about something that's been in the headlines over the last day or two. I'm probably going to get some hate tweets for this and hate emails, but that's fine. I can live with it. It's just part of life. Just Tuesday for me. But Black Lives Matter co-founder Patrisse Cullors, she's the former person who ran Black Lives Matter. So BLM has been in the news because they've been in trouble for not exactly having their financial records up to date. They have not filed any financial records or anything like they're supposed to the tax man since 2020, if I'm not mistaken, which is a problem. One of the things that they need to file is called a 990 because they are a nonprofit organization. That's one of the forms that are required. And, you know, whenever you are vetting any type of charity that you're going to donate your money to, you should always look at their financials and you should look at what they've actually done. What have they invested in? How did they spend their money? Especially if you're planning on donating a significant amount of money to a charity. Well, BLM has not been super transparent about that. And most recently, they purchased a $6 million mansion as part of their purchases to bring, I believe the way they put it was to bring joy to their organization, which that a $6 million mansion would bring me quite a bit of joy as well. But they haven't filed the proper paperwork that they're supposed to as far as handling things financially. And BLM has collected, as far as donations, in the billions of dollars. So this is what caught my eye, though. That Patrisse Cullors was recently at a conference or a speaker at a conference of some sort, and she said that the 990, this form that she's supposed to have filled out because of the size of the organization she ran, she said that it doesn't seem safe for us, meaning people of color or black people, this 990 structure, this nonprofit system structure. It's deeply unsafe for people of color. It's literally being weaponized against us and against the people we work with. Now, never mind that all nonprofits have to file 990s, no matter what color you are. It's not a personal attack on BLM, but this is the way they twist things. She also said that people's morale in an organization is so important. But if their organization and the people in it are being attacked and scrutinized for everything they do, that leads to deep burnout. That leads to deep, resistance and trauma. So let's be clear. They're traumatized by the fact that they're being held accountable like every other nonprofit organization, is held accountable for the money that they bring in. It's somebody else's money. People are donating that money. Uncle Sam wants to make sure that everything is the way it's supposed to be, and people are not getting duped by organizations that claim to be nonprofit organizations for a specific purpose. And you know, my question would be, for BLM, what have you done for the communities that you're supposedly serving? I think there are many communities that could have benefited from $6 million. There are many public schools in predominantly minority areas, the places that BLM are supposed to support, that could probably use textbooks and computers. And heck, finance some more teachers. There's a severe teacher shortage going around. There's lots that BLM can do, but they're out buying mansions. And then they're out not being accountable for the money that they've collected. That is a problem. It's a huge red flag. You know, when I teach about philanthropy in the classroom, one of the things that I tell my students that it's very important to look at is financial transparency. And that if the organization isn't transparent when it comes to their finances, that's a red flag. If they're not transparent as to what they've accomplished, that's a red flag. But the fact that somehow they are turning what is normal, regular vetting and monitoring by the government for charities into something that's racist, and you're actually triggered by it. You're triggered because people are asking you what you did with a few $1 billion with a B that people gave you. You're triggered by that? That's a problem. And she has stepped down over a year ago. She stepped down, and she was one of the founders, and one of the reasons that she stepped down was because of the financial scandals associated with BLM. This is not the first financial scandal that they've had. They've had quite a few. They spent it's just absolutely crazy. Now, they're supposed to, you'll notice that this is not all over the news. There's only a few places that are reporting the scandals that are going around. And by the way, they did some changing of names and signing the property over to this other organization to kind of hide the fact that they bought this property. It's ridiculous. And it's shady and shifty and sketchy. It's a whole entire problem. So I think if you're one of these huge organizations that has donated to BLM, you would have a problem because you're thinking that you're helping out, right? That you're helping people, and who have you really helped? And nobody seems to be holding them accountable, but the DOJ, the Department of Justice, I believe, is now looking into this, is now investigating where all that money went and saying, hey, guys, going to need you to file that paperwork that you're supposed to file. It's crazy. So, yeah, after in May 2021, the callers, who is the person who's triggered by the 990 forms, stepped down because she had bought a whole bunch of properties. And they were like, where did you get all that money from? And she was like, I gotta go. I think I hear someone calling. I hear someone calling me. It's about that time. I have to go. And she stepped down when she was questioned. And I don't even know whatever came of that investigation. But like I said, if you support BLM just from a financial perspective, I think it's more than reasonable to ask the question, where is that money going? How is the organization helping the community? And hey, if you're listening and you know, feel free to tweet me at Money Talk Mel or jump on my Facebook page at Money Talk with Melanie. Send me a message. I'd like to know myself so that I could tell people, you know what? I was mistaken. They actually have bought, thousands of books for inner city kids that are predominantly black neighborhoods, and they've done a whole world of good. But I have not. I have yet to see that in BLM, and they need to be more transparent with their finances. Just saying. I'm sure some people are going to be mad that I said that, but it needed to be said. We're talking about a few $1 billion that's unaccounted for. That's ridiculous. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. We're headed into our second hour, where our guests will be Dr. Bob, Dr. Peace, Dr. Robert Reuschlein, and he's going to talk to us about weather, wealth, and wars on the other side of the break. We'll be right back.
Money Talk with Melanie.
Money Talk with Melanie.
Thursdays, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time on 98.7 The Coast.
Welcome back to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your host, Melanie Collette, and we are in the second hour of Money Talk with Melanie, where we have Nobel Peace Prize nominee and author, Dr. Robert Reuschlein, a.k.a. Dr. Peace. He's going to talk to us about weather, wealth, and wars. He has degrees in engineering and accounting with an MBA and a doctorate in educational leadership. And over the last 36 years, he's developed some ideas about the economy that are very interesting. You can find them at realeconomy.com. His resume is actually quite extensive, and I only gave you a teeny tiny bit. I'm going to let him share with you the rest of what he wants to tell you about himself. And without further ado, Dr. Robert Reuschlein, how are you?
Well, hi. Okay, you leave it up to me. Huh?
I'm going to listen. I didn't know what to pick. I spent about 20 minutes trying to figure out what to do about your bio, and I was like, I'm going to let him tell the audience.
I'll explain the title then in my book, Weather, Wealth, and Wars, because weather is the natural element. You know, is it colder or warmer? Is it raining or not? This kind of thing. That's our weather, and in the long term, it becomes climate. And you can see it does evolve over time. And a strange thing happened when I did the 150-year temperature record and did a running 55-year average. It came out exactly smooth in 3 segments. It's astonishing, but there is a 54-year cycle. That's when the major wars come along, and 1970 was the last time. 2024 is this time. So that time we had the Vietnam War, and then soon Afghanistan between the number 1 and number 2 powers. And here we have the Iraq War in 2003, and then the Ukraine War in 2022, 19 years later. And that's very much like the historical pattern.
So so you're saying there's a historical pattern for wars in general.
Yeah, wars. Yeah, weather, wealth, and wars.
And weather.
They're all linked.
Okay,
and the weather too. You see, the thing that we don't understand about the weather is that when it's hot, we aren't very effective. We want to take a break. You know, we want to have a drink or slow down or cover ourselves with water, because water evaporates and gives us comfort. So
agreed.
So it turns out, a lesson I learned a long time ago, when I was 80 or 90 degrees out there and you're plotting a lot plot where a house is going to be built, it is really tough when the temperature really gets up there. And statistically, at 95 degrees, you lose 37% of your productivity. So it has a real effect on people. And because outdoor construction is a major part of the economy, producing, that's where we get our capital investment.
Okay.
New people building things and so forth. And so it's a vital part of our economy that is affected by this heating and cooling. And cooling tends to be better for the economy, and heating tends to be, mañana, just give me another drink, and I just want to sit here on the beach. You know.
Okay, so what about geographical locations where the weather is predominantly warm, does that affect their economy in a negative way?
Well, not so much. Not so much. Here's the pattern around the world. It's the northern hemisphere is where most of the world's land is, and that's where things heat up because solar radiation evaporates water about 85% to 67% or whatever, a huge percentage of the time, depending on whose statistics you use.
Okay.
And so you got that. Yeah, you said, okay, that threw me off. Let's see where we were going with this.
No, I was just asking if in places that are warm all year round, if that weather has a negative effect on their economy, because you were saying that things tend to slow down when things warm up. So, I mean, definitely where I live, I happen to live near beaches in a resort area, and I mean, we literally, I mean, I belong to quite a few organizations, and many of us don't meet during the summer. We don't, we do email only. We just kind of shut it down until September.
Yeah.
So I can relate to what you're saying in that regard. So that makes me wonder.
Yeah. And so every September, I mean, I'm kind of like an A student type, so maybe I'm not the typical person, but every September I just feel more lively. The coolness brings back the energy and gets you going again. Coolness is good, and heat slows you down.
That's true. And one of the things that you say is that the biggest impediments to economic growth are the military and temperature.
Yes.
And you relate that to global warming, but I think we need to establish something right off the bat. When you say global warming, what are you referring to? Or global? Do we still say warming? I think we say climate change now, right? Don't we?
Yeah. A guy explained that to me once. That global warming has kind of become a conservative thing, and climate change has become the liberal thing. The politically correct way to say things. I'm not so sure that things should be classified that simply.
Well, it has always been kind of my theory. I do definitely lean conservative. I don't know a lot about I will admit, not knowing a lot about the science of climate change, but it just seems to me that it's cyclical, that those things that happen to the planet are cyclical.
Absolutely.
Right. So, I'm sure, people will probably call me a climate change denier. I wouldn't say that. It's just that I'm observant, and I happen to be one of those weirdos that believe in the Bible. And if you read I think it describes in different places climate change. And you're like, oh, this is climate change. It's a natural part of the planet. This is just one girl's opinion who happens to be behind the mic right now.
Right. And then the apocalypse talks about all the wars and things and stuff like that. I mean, the Bible talks about almost everything in human nature.
Indeed.
It does.
Right.
And it's a good thing. Yes, we should love our fellow persons. We should love each other. I mean, that's the better way to go about things and to help each other and so forth. And a lot of the time we do.
It's true. Now, I teach financial literacy, and I also teach economics, but I found it interesting that one of the comments about your research was that economics isn't considered a great science. People don't have a lot of positive opinions about economics. And I think if you look at our political climate, it's pretty clear that we're not all reading the same economics books. We can't possibly be. And one of the comments about your research is that, economics is kind of an inaccurate science. And so, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, yes. It definitely is. Economists, 2 or 3 years out, if they're 60% off, they're lucky. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
It's worse than trying to forecast the weather, I guess. That's another.
Well, we get a lot of predictions about the economy, and the media will say that the economists predicted X, Y, Z, so this is what we were expecting, and then we didn't get what we expected. Like them and the weatherman, like you're out weather person.
Well, and here's the catch. We do that because we've got theories that don't really work all that well. We're still guessing. We are in the prehistory, if you will, of economics as a real science.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, why do you say that?
Oh, well, because I've invented the real science, and it's in the book.
Oh! Well, that's a good reason. And it is. And you've got to pick up this book. You can find it on Amazon. And it is. When I first met Dr. Reuschlein online via email, he emailed me, and I was like, well, what have you done?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry I asked that question. So he sends me his book. And I'm like, okay, so the answer to that question was everything. Got it. Everything that has to do with economics. Got it. I got it. I think you're more than qualified.
And everything has to do with economics. The word economics comes from the Greek word for managing your household.
Sure. Exactly.
Can you imagine that? And we've almost written that part out of the economy. The home life is almost ignored by our economics, and that's crazy.
Well, the government has the government operates in such a way that it doesn't acknowledge that there is such thing as kitchen table economics, where you actually have to have the money that you're spending. Unlike what the government does, just spends money that we don't have. Like they have all these outlandish proposals and budgets, and you're going, where are they getting that money from? Where are they getting that money? They don't tell you the other side, that they're borrowing it from bad actors, and that we're indebted to like not nice people.
Oh yeah, we've got a lot of issues going. I mean, to solve the whole society's problem. What I found in economics, the simple thing, and it echoes through all kinds of economics, is that military spending and manufacturing are opposites. Manufacturing grows the economy. Military spending grows power, political power, but not economic growth.
Now, I always thought, and I read that, and I always thought the opposite. I always thought, and I think that the media tells us that war is kind of good for the economy. Not even kind of good for the economy, that it is good for the economy.
And that's because of World War II. And the myths of World War II. Do you realize that when you look at the actual statistics, the 8 years from 1933 to 1941 had a higher economic growth rate than the 4 World War II years?
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
The recovery was very robust. And then the war came along and took all the credit. And when Social Security went in January 1st of 1936, the taxes went in before the money went out. There weren't many people over 65 back then.
Well, right, and that has changed dramatically.
Yes.
since then.
Right. And so now everything's out of whack because we didn't figure this out 100 years ago.
But we should have. We have the best and the brightest running the country. That was sarcasm.
Yeah. We have a chance. Well, politics is all about emotions and not about logic. So
kidding.
You just gotta face facts. That's the way the world is.
No more profound statement has ever been said about politics. That is, a lot of it is about emotion, and I find that to be very strange. Because to me, I look at politics like you're hiring somebody to do something for you. But I think that kind of gets back to an uninformed electorate that doesn't really know what the government is supposed to do for us. So, if you don't understand what the government's role is, you don't understand who you're hiring and what you're hiring them for, and then you're emoting in the process, that's going to come out bad. That's not going to come out well. That's going to be a problem.
No. We just, an emotional. We get ourselves into an emotional state. We lose objectivity.
Yes, we do, and we need to be objective. But I think, the way the political climate has gone is that nobody is objective anymore, and everybody is very much just grounded in their position and doesn't want to move. And I don't think that that's a good thing either. But if economics is, you said we're in the pre-stages, really, of economics becoming an actual science, because you have figured out what the actual science is, and it's very, you guys, if you are interested, if you're a big economics nerd like myself, you got to pick up his book and read his book, because it breaks it down in details, like nothing I ever saw in any of my graduate classes on economics. That it's just amazing.
Well, absolutely. I went to online book services, and had them look at it and everything, and I mistakenly said, this is economics and this is history. And I realized that's a contradiction, because when you're dealing with history, you're not dealing with numbers. Do you realize what a tiny percentage of academic papers have anything to do with a chart or numbers? Almost none of them do. 90% of the time they don't, and it's probably less than 7% overall. This one guy who was giving this thing was proud that he'd gotten it up to 15%.
Wow.
So historians, I have a historian nemesis. As we agree, you're a little more conservative, I'm a little more liberal, whatever. But we're both common sense people, so we can dialogue, we can talk about these things.
Absolutely, and I think it's super important. We're up against a commercial break, but I wanna switch gears just a little bit and talk about some specific things that are going on in our economy, especially when it comes to the global economy and the war going on in Ukraine and our policies and all that kind of stuff, and how that's going to affect not only the United States economy, but the global economy as well. We are on with Dr. Robert Reuschlein, known as Dr. Peace, and we are talking to him about whether war and something. How did I get? Oh, weather, wealth, and wars. There it is.
Wealth and wars.
That's what happens when I lose my place. I apologize.
Money Talk with Melanie on 98.7 The Coast.
Welcome back to Money Talk with Melanie. We are speaking with Dr. Bob Reuschlein. He is talking to us about wealth war, and come on, Melanie. I'm going to get this right.
Weather,
wealth, and wars. I'm really struggling today. I'm running the struggle bus, for real. I apologize.
It's like World Wide Web, only it's got 3 different letters for the W's.
The alliteration is fantastic, if I could just get it right. weather wars.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
I really want to talk about the impact of the war in Ukraine on not only the U.S. economy but the global economy as well, because I think there's two parts there, and it's starting to get really complicated. I feel like the longer this war goes on, the more complex it's going to get, and that we're conflating like what's causing the trouble in the United States economy and the global economy, and it's becoming really problematic. Aside from like all the killing and things like that are going on in that war of innocence, which is a huge problem.
Well, here's where history comes in. Do you know that we had a massive recession in the year 1914?
Yes,
World War I started.
I did know that. Yes, only because I'm a nerd. That's the only reason why I knew that.
So that's kind of like what's happening now, because when you cut the trade routes down, you create these artificial economic problems.
So one of the problems that we're having due to the war, you're saying, is because the trade routes are being impacted by the war.
Yeah. All of a sudden, all these companies pull out of Russia, and all of a sudden, it's amazing that the stock market has been relatively stable through all of this, and even the oil price has been relatively stable, and it may actually be going down a little bit now.
Where is it going down? I just paid $72 to fill up my Beetle the other day. Ridiculous.
Here in Madison, Wisconsin, it went down to what, $3.46 a gallon?
Huh? I never thought I'd see a time when I thought $3.46 was good, but I guess that's when it was $1.80 a little over a year ago.
It was a couple years ago. I think that was a couple years ago. Because 2 years ago was when the pandemic hit. It hit, and I remember I made a speech on March 13th, and it was the last outside speech thing. And then the next day, it was all mask mandates and shutdowns.
True.
And that's when the price went low, because everybody stopped activating, and then the inflation started up, partly because all these factories are down all over the place. A Vietnamese factory goes down, and a 19-cent part stalls Detroit. There's all of this stuff goes on, so you got the disruption of the supply chain because of the disease, hitting different factories and stuff.
Now supposedly the supply chain is kind of fixed now that the pandemic is kind of, I'm putting this in air quotes, over. Well,
it is, but if you've got 36% of China shut down, it's not fixed.
Well, yes, and that's, China's been a problem for a good while now. This is just the latest iteration of the problems that we have with China.
The big problem with China is they're shooting themselves in the foot now with taking out Hong Kong, which was the financial center of the Far East. Taking out Hong Kong and the Uyghurs and all the crazy stuff that they're doing is a problem. But they're cutting off what produced the goods, the growth and everything. They're cutting into some of their entrepreneurs are not letting be as expansive as they would like to be, and so forth. So they're acting. He's trying to control the economy, and you can't control the economy. You can only guide it.
Well,
you
can
can direct it, but but it's going to go on its own. You just have to help it move this way or that a little bit.
I think that the United States mistakenly thought that if we introduced China to capitalism, that they were going to become a democracy, and
Right.
that is not what happened. They were like, "We'll take the money, and we're still going to be big communists." Like we're interested in the financial part, but the freedom part not so much. We're still not going to be doing that.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and so they adopted capitalism, in about 82 under Li Jinping and so forth, back in the early 80s and so forth, and they started this great growth. They were still only a $1 trillion economy, in 2000.
Right.
Which is, 5% of us or something like that. It was nothing, and they just grew and grew. Some people are saying that India was going to be next, and that they were going to come along. I don't see that happening quite so fast.
But the bigger problem with China is that they are. They remind me of, there was a cartoon years ago called Pinky and the Brain, and every day one of the characters would ask the other character what they were going to do that day, and they would say, we're going to take over the world. And that's like what China does. Like, they get up every single day, and they're like, global domination. That's the goal today. It's the goal every single day. So they're doing stuff in Africa. Like, they're doing a whole bunch of stuff here in the United States, and they are basically going pretty much financially unchecked, and it's a problem.
I think they're getting 2/3 of the exports from Latin America are going to China.
Yeah, see, and we're not, policy-wise, we're not doing anything as for now, the world's biggest global power. If China has anything to do with it, it won't be much longer that we're the biggest economy and the biggest world power, most powerful world power in the world.
Unless Xi is screwing up right now, and he might be in the process of that. Their economy has not surged. It used to be much heavier growth rate than ours for the longest time, but not lately.
No, that's true, and they're making some really bad political moves backing Russia, in my opinion. I think they're definitely secretly backing Russia in the war on Ukraine, and that's a huge problem as well.
If he'd have waited a month or two, I don't think that Olympic thing, where the two leaders got up there side by side, I don't know that would work right now, because now Xi has found out that Russia's a paper tiger.
Absolutely. And so what do you think about the United States policy as far as all the sanctions that they put on Russia? They have not put any sanctions on China yet, which in my opinion they probably should start, because it's become more and more clear that China is backing Russia, and so they probably should start sanctioning China, and for like
it's
a
true,
million other reasons.
But if you look at China's customers, it's Europe and America.
Yes,
Russia is a small part of the picture, so they can't lean too heavily in the Russian direction. They're doing a balancing act. That's why they voted to abstain rather than take a position on the war and the UN votes and so forth.
I was a little surprised by that they abstained. I thought they would just,
Well, look, there's the yin and the yang, and there's the Confucius and so forth. I mean, they have some great traditions of thinking things through, and I wouldn't put the Chinese down for who they are. I mean, it is a great civilization. There's no question about that.
They are. I actually had an expert on an import expert on the show one time, and we were talking about China and their stealing of intellectual property from the United States. Everybody knows that that's like super rampant, right, in China. And the gentleman who was the expert told me that it is a cultural difference, that they look at it as they're like borrowing the the intellectual property. And I said, do they know that in the United States we think that's stealing? Like, do they understand that we view that as stealing? Like, we don't call it borrowing here. We call it stealing, and it's illegal. Like, you're not allowed to do that.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you really were borrowing it, you'd be paying them some residual on it, you know?
Right. You get a kickback. But, yeah, he said culturally they just they're not really into the whole, like, it's yours. Like, if it's out there, it's everybody's. At least that was the way he explained it. Now, how do you feel about how the government, our current administration, is handling the inflation issues that we have, the fact that the Fed hasn't raised, they said they're going to start raising interest rates. I think there's been, failures on both sides of the aisle as far as what they've been doing with the interest rate and quantitative easing and all that.
Half a percentage point or a quarter. I'm not sure what they just put through. Maybe a quarter. The last one, I didn't follow that closely.
Now, in order to beat inflation, don't they have to raise the interest rate up past the inflation rate, which is at about 8.5 right now, 8.5%? So.
Well, no, it doesn't work that simply. Nice if it did.
I tossed it across the plate. I wanted to see how it was going to work out.
I found some things that work really well, like the size of your economy is a real good determinant of who's going to win the war.
Ah, okay. So what do you?
And if you look at that, and right now, one of the demoralizing things that's happening to the Russian army is they go into these towns, and everybody's leaving before the Russians get there, except the people who stay behind. So they're walking into these abandoned homes. And they're looking at the lifestyle, and they're saying, these people are rich compared to us. And so the Russians, I don't know, out of resentment or whatever, they're going after them. They're labeling them as Nazis, and they're going into this. They're trying to eliminate Ukraine. They're taking 200,000 kids back to Russia.
Right,
They're going to indoctrinate them.
I've heard that, but isn't that kind of the position of every nation that is poorer than the United States, which also tend to be your socialist nations with socialist economies or communist economies that where they're poor, but in nations where there's capitalism, in my opinion, is where there are going to be less poor people because there's so much more opportunity.
Yeah, there is more opportunity, but it also depends on how it's structured,
Oh well, for sure, and there's nothing perfect about any of the structure. We're up against the close of the hour. I'd love for you to tell people where to get your book, where they can follow you on any social media or anything like that.
Oh, well, Well, realeconomy.com is my main website, and that leads you to all the other relationships. Academia.edu is probably the highest quality academic work and so forth that I have. I have 73 papers on there.
And there's lots of good stuff there. I was on there for a long time today. And you really
I adopted most
brilliant.
of the best stuff and put it into the book. The book is meant to be, for some people, like Principia or Origin of the Species.
Oh, okay. And it does read like that.
Right. Or even, the book that in 1936 that John Maynard Keynes came out with, which was excellent and lasted a long, long time, except he got the military part backwards. And
you got it right. I hope the next time you're nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize that you're a winner, because you're even though I may not have agreed completely with everything I read, the research is just definitely excellent and can't be beat. And I thank you so much for being on Money Talk with Melanie this evening. That's Dr. Robert Reuschlein, Dr. Peace. The book is Weather, Wealth, and Wars. Go out and pick it up, and so you can find out what the real science of economics is. We appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for being on the show. Have a great night.
Money Talk with Melanie features lively discussions of a wide range of global, domestic, and kitchen table financial topics.
Money Talk with Melanie
on 98.7 The Coast.
Welcome back to Money Talk with Melanie. I want to thank my guests this evening, Oliver Ezell. He talked to us about learning crypto solutions and the Metaverse and how you can make money in the Metaverse. Just did an excellent job describing that. And then our last hour guest was Nobel Peace Prize nominee and author, Dr. Robert Reuschlein, a.k.a. Dr. Peace. And he spoke to us about his book, Weather, Wealth, and Wars. Very interesting book. You need to go ahead and pick that up. If you missed the show, fret not. It will be posted as a podcast on 98.7 The Coast website or any of my social media at Money Talk Mel on Twitter, at Money Talk with Melanie on Facebook. And next week on Money Talk with Melanie, we will have two wonderful guests, Agile Performance Marketing expert Wes Azadani, who will talk to us about how startup leaders can make twice the money in half the time, and author Stephen J. Spence will talk to us about the truth about our monetary system. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is very important because after all, it's your money.